Welcome to Learning to Glow, a show about wellness, skin health, and self-development. I'm your host, Jess. I'm a mom, entrepreneur, and skincare expert. I'm so excited to share tips on how to achieve healthy skin and bring amazing guests in the field of health, fitness, aging gracefully, and personal growth. Let's explore all different ways we can take care of ourselves as women, both inside and out, to truly shine. So let's get glowing. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I am so excited to share today's episode. Our guest is Alayna Bellquist, and she is a woman who has dealt with some very serious chronic illness, Lyme disease, and was able to heal from that and is now in remission. I just can't tell you how much I loved speaking with her and listening to her story. She is going to walk us through what she did, how she found out that she had Lyme, and what she did next. And it was quite a struggle and a long journey, but what she shares with us today, I think, is so important, not just for people who are suffering from Lyme and chronic illness, but just all of us, because these are things that we could do to just optimize the way we're living and our vitality, and very amazing and practical tips that she shares with us that I really learned from, and she really inspired me. So I hope you guys love this episode. Please share this with a friend. I actually know a few people who are suffering from chronic Lyme, and I was so excited that I met her. She has a book coming out. It's not until September, but you can pre-order it now, and I am doing that because I can't wait to read it. I can't wait to just get back into things that are going to help promote healing within my body. So thank you to Alayna, and enjoy this episode. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us today. And thank you to our guest, Alayna. We are going to be talking about Lyme disease. And I was just telling you before we pushed record that we've never talked about this before. So welcome, and thanks for being here with us.
Oh, I'm really happy to be here. And I don't want people to be like, this is going to be a sad episode. This is actually I have a positive, really happy ending story to share.
Yeah, I know. And that's why I wanted to have you on, because I did tell someone this morning that I was talking with you, and they did have that reaction of like, oh, and so I'm so glad that you're here, and I'm so glad that we get to cover this together. So before we get started, tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
Oh, happy to. My name is Alayna Bellquist. I live in San Diego in California, but I'm originally from Canada. So I grew up on Vancouver Island. Really nature-focused childhood, really animal, nature-focused childhood. And that just kind of turned into my life. I've been riding horses my whole life. Went to grad school here. That's why I moved to the States to do marine biology. And so I've worked as a marine scientist for almost 20 years. So really have a life dedicated to animals and the planet, and doing what I can to improve the way we interact with the planet. And in 2017, I was riding my horse in San Diego and was bitten by a tick. And then the wheels fell off and everything kind of blew up, and got really terribly sick with Lyme disease. But I am here today because I'm fully cured. I don't have Lyme anymore. So it's like I said at the beginning, it's a story of that I hope will help many, many people suffering kind of challenge the narrative that this is a life sentence. It wasn't for me. And so I'm just really excited to share that story.
I know. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to hear it. Maybe we should start with because it's kind of a topic that a lot of people, I feel like, don't talk about very much. Like, we think we know what it is, but can you tell us what is Lyme? And then I'd love to hear your story too, of what happened after you discovered that you had it, and how easy was that process to figure out?
Yeah. So Lyme is an infectious disease. It's transmitted mostly by ticks, and it's a bacteria called Borrelia burgdorferi. And some people get it in acute form that is treated relatively easily with like a short course of antibiotics if it's caught early. Other people like myself might have it for years if it turns into a more chronic case. It's the number one most common vector-borne infectious disease in the US. So something like 500,000 cases a year. Testing is wildly inaccurate, or insensitive. So there's a lot of cases that are missed. So it's really prevalent. It's called the great imitator because it shows up in a wide range of symptoms. Some people might get misdiagnosed with MS, fibromyalgia, arthritis, terrible vertigo. So a lot of cases are missed. And a lot of people are facing this, and it can be devastating. I had an utterly devastating experience, but it is possible to overcome. And like I said, I just want to be a voice of someone who's overcome a devastating. I understand the grueling nature of this infection, and yeah, it's very serious. Like it can be very serious.
So when you say the testing can be off
Yeah.
or insensitive,
Yeah.
so tell us, after you were on the horse, did you know immediately that you had a tick and that it was Lyme, or did you have that experience and then you just went about your life and then you had all these symptoms? Like, how did you figure out that it was Lyme?
Yeah, so I was bitten. I got home. I found the tick on my stomach. I like freaked out, like ripped it off my stomach. And I'm a biologist, so like naturally kind of like was like, well, I should keep the specimen. So I like chucked it in a Ziploc bag and went to the emergency room actually that night. My husband, I was like, you're being dramatic. And he was like, let's just go. Like we don't want to mess around with this. And they kind of were ill prepared. It's innocently ill prepared, and they didn't really know what to do. And so they just gave me like a couple antibiotic pills and were like, you're fine. In hindsight, since I had the tick, I should have mailed it off and had it tested for Lyme disease. You can send it to the Pennsylvania Tick Lab, I believe it's called, and they can just test it for Lyme. And then you kind of know were you potentially exposed to Borrelia or a number of pathogens. They host a lot of viruses, bacteria, parasites. Ticks are amazingly effective little vectors of disease and illness. And so yeah, I kind of had some sort of like false security from that experience. I was like, well, they don't seem to be worried. And the internet kind of like reinforced that because there's so much misunderstanding. So it was like, well, no, it needs to be attached for like 18 hours. It needs to be this species of tick. It needs to have a bullseye rash. Like, no, that's like just not the case. And so when I was bitten, I had been living like a very fast paced, overachieving like type of life, like a lot of like conventional success, like with my career and my education. But I was chronically frazzled, like under the surface. I was pretty darn good at like keeping up appearances, but I was I was really stressed out 24/7. And so when I was infected, I was in such a depleted state. So when the symptoms started showing up in the years after the bite, I just wrote everything off as stress. I was like, oh, like a little bit of dizziness, must be stress. Like, oh, my joints are hurting, must be stress. Like, I feel like I have the flu randomly, must be stress. And I just was like, and I don't have time for this. I have too much of a job and a career. So like, must be stress. Also like, I'm not going to look into this. What are we going to go to the doctor and say like, I'm kind of achy. So that wasn't very wise. And and then in 2020, so like deep in COVID, I just crashed and burned like beyond. And I am so tough. Like I think women were just, I've been told I have a strong constitution many times. Like I just pushed through, and this was totally not the kind of pain you could push through. And I went to the doctor and they were like, well, you got a stiff neck, burning hands, like burning joints, flu, like you were bitten by a tick. Like I just happened to go to an urgent care here. And she was like, I think we should test you for Lyme. And I was like, Lyme? Like, what are you talking about? And I tested positive on the Western blot, which is, I think they said 78% of tests are missed. So it was a damn miracle I tested positive. I was so riddled with Lyme. And then it all just like escalated really, really quickly. And like, I don't know anything about Lyme, and the internet is a terrifying place to go type in. This was 2020. This is like COVID was so scary at that time. So then I was diagnosed on top of that with Lyme disease. And yeah, the internet scared me beyond. And then it was 4 years of like crawling my way back to health. But it's been 6 years now, and I am thankful for the whole thing. I'm so glad it happened.
So you said was it 3 years from the tick to
Yeah.
when you got diagnosed? Okay. So for people listening, so that's very interesting that you had the tick, but like they were like, no big deal, just take these antibiotics, you'll be fine. And then 3 years later, were the symptoms right away? And that's my
No.
next question is what are the symptoms? But tell us about that. Like when people listening to this could have these symptoms and have no idea that they have Lyme. So tell us what are some of the symptoms so that they can look more into this.
My symptoms started emerging about 6 to 8 months after the bite.
Oh, wow.
So I remember I wrote a book which details all of this in grueling detail. But like I felt like I had like pins and needles in my arms. Then I had swollen joints. Then I got a stiff neck. Then like full body aches, random bouts of vertigo, which I'd never had before. Um, Air hunger, which is a symptom of babesia, which is a co-infection. So ticks and Lyme often comes with co-infections. These are other pathogens that have been passed on by the tick. So babesia, I think it feasts on your red blood cells. So you actually
Mhm.
are like starving for air from like like not from your lungs, but like your body. So I was constantly like trying to take deep breaths because I had this sensation I wasn't getting enough air. But like I went to the doctor and they were like, your lungs are fine. Like, here, take an inhaler. I was like, but I don't have asthma. I just like feel like I need more air. Um, so that's a really odd one. And so, but generally speaking, people say it's like exhaustion. Like if you have like the worst hangover of your life or you have a terrible flu, the neurological component is devastating. The vertigo, the brain fog, the like forgetting things. Like I couldn't tell where I was in a room. I lost like my ability to be like spatially like recognized. It was so odd. Things that are really hard to put into words. Um, it kind of people have burning, the bottoms of their feet burn, but generally speaking it's like exhaustion, aches, vertigo, neurological things, neuropathy and stuff like that.
So the thing that's so tough about this is that could be so many things,
Yeah.
like especially if you're talking, and a lot of women listening to this podcast are in perimenopause, menopause. I mean, a lot of that could be hormones, so I could see this you going to your doctor and
Mhm.
being like, I have all these symptoms, and they're like, oh, that's normal for your age. And when you say that 2020 was kind of when it hit you hard and you got really sick, was it from the time of the tick to then just like sporadic, or like it would come and go, these
Exactly.
things? Okay.
I
Okay.
that chapter of the book is called Whispers because they would kind of like enough that I could keep doing my life. Like I was at Orange Theory and I'd be like on the treadmill and I'd be like like trying to take air in, not like winded from running, but like, and I was like, oh, like, and then I just like keep running. So like, yes, but I could still show up and do my job. Um, like I'd get these random days where I felt like I had the flu, but they never manifested into the flu. And I had no like sinus or anything like that, just like full body aches. And then it would just vanish. So it was very like that for those few years or pardon me, for that first, for those 3 years. It was like, and you hear this a lot in like the final straw. Like I had a terrible riding accident in 2020. My horse Summers like cartwheeled and fell on top of me,
Oh my God.
and I sprained both my knees. And like 2 months later, that's when like Lyme just, like it couldn't, my body couldn't hold it anymore. It was just
Yeah.
like, nope. And, my story is like so tied to, yes, there was all the physical healing I did, of course. But the only reason I'm in the place I'm in today is because I looked at like the mental and emotional part. And
Yeah.
so like really the whole, like the body, Dr. Gabor Mate, the body, when the body says no, like
Mhm.
when my body in 2020, when I was diagnosed, my body was screaming no. Like that was it. It was done. We were not going to be living the way we were living anymore. And that's why I thank Lyme, because it's the only reason I like listened, because it needed to be that loud for me because I'm so like high achieving and all this garbage that it had to be that devastating. It had to be that devastating or I never would have stopped.
Yeah, it's so interesting how the body gets to a point when it's like, okay, girl, like it's time, get on the couch. You're not listening
Yeah.
before. Now
Oh, you
now
want
it's
to
time.
make breakfast? No, like, you know what I
Oh,
mean?
I think so many people with chronic disease and illness
Yeah.
can relate to that, because there's other things that can cause some of this, like extreme fatigue and
Yes.
pain, and you want to do everything and you push yourself and then it gets to the point where there's nowhere else to go. I've never heard of the air hunger, and I was thinking when you were talking about Orange Theory, I'm like, I bet a lot of people have that deep breath that they need to take without air hunger, but
The thing with
that's a pretty intense.
when, like if you're an archer and they're like, what, I can't even remember, I stopped doing it a while ago, like level, whatever, all out. I think that, right? It's like all out and you're like sprinting. If you hit stop on the machine and you finally feel relieved because you've caught your breath, air hunger, you never get that sensation of relief. You just constantly taking deep breaths of air and you're like, my body is still screaming at me for more air. It's really torturous. It's very awful.
That sounds terrible. And of course you were doing Orange Theory with your personality type. I can relate to all of this, by the way, in many, many ways. I can relate to this. So take us to you're 2020, you are done. Your body is like, you're done. Tell us what you did next. Like, how did you start this process? And I think it's really important that you talk about looking at, of course you have to look at the physical, but I think a part of healing that a lot of people don't look at is what you were saying about your emotional, your mental state, your stress. That's not a little part. That's a big part. So talk to us about what you started to do. What was the first thing we started in 2020 when you were dealing with that?
It can't be overstated. I absolutely would not be recovered fully if I had not done the mental and emotional and the inner work. I know this to be true. So I immediately was put on like a mammoth amount of antibiotic pills. I am one of the smartest things I did was go to a Lyme literate doctor. Can't be overstated enough. Western medicine is wonderful for a lot of things, highly, highly limited when it comes to treating Lyme disease. And chronic infection kind of in general. So I happened to find a global expert in Lyme disease in San Diego, Dr. Nicola Ducharme, and took my test to her, and she's like, okay, this is very crystal clear. Like, you are like, like our poster child Lyme patient here. And so it was put on like heavy antibiotic regime. Started doing IV ozone therapy. So it was all like medical like treatments. And like I got substantially worse. They tend to make you worse before they get better. And that's also like a mind game. Like you're like, oh my God, like when have I not just gotten better when I started medication? Like you get bronchitis or like anything like that, you slowly get better. I like crashed and burned. And I write about this in the book. It's like one of my favorite chapters because I called a psychic, and I'm like a scientist. This is not what we do. I was like, I was so embarrassed for myself. And I was like, this is how desperate I am. So I was like online, I was like, San Diego psychic, like found a psychic, talked to her, and she was lovely. And I hid this from my husband because he's also a biologist. And I was like, so shameful, so awful. I felt so shamed doing this. And now I'm like all into this.
Me too.
And we had a nice chat. And I basically just wanted her to guarantee me I was going to get better. And she was like, I do see you getting through this. And at the very end of the phone call, she was like, but like, you have to address your childhood. You have to look at things that happened in your past. And I was like, I don't know. Like, what are you talking about? And, but like, I'm such a diligent student. I have the notebook. Like I wrote it in like a line item. Like I was like, okay, address childhood, like do it this weekend, like maybe like look into the past a little bit. And that conversation really started the ball moving. I read the Wim Hof book because I like watched like Gwyneth Paltrow on Netflix. She had like Wim Hof on an episode. And I was like, okay, like that kind of speaks to me. I'm pretty intense. Like maybe like cold water might help. And read the Wim Hof book. And he does a lot about mindset. And I was like, okay. And so then it slowly just started to like consider the inner work, like got a therapist, then got a coach, like got a mindset coach. And like, just like slowly you get out of your own way. And next thing I know, I'm doing like EMDR, I'm doing like rage rituals. I hire like Mia Magic, who's like this witch to like coach me and who's now become like a dear, dear friend of mine. Started doing breath work every day. and really did dive into like my past that I refused to acknowledge was anything but perfect. And no one has a perfect past. There was a lot of difficulty in my childhood. I adore my parents, and there was a lot of difficulty. And yeah, I was a chronically dysregulated, freaking high achieving, crazy perfectionist type A. And that decimated my immune system.
Mm.
Like, so many people are bitten by ticks and don't get sick. I get bit once and I'm like in bed for like a year. So my husband's been bitten many times and has zero symptoms of Lyme. He has the Lyme antibodies. So he has been exposed to Lyme and has no symptoms, zero. He's super happy-go-lucky. He's got firm boundaries. He's just like this. He's, he's good. So this took years of like deep work, read like 60 books on, self-help type books. And it started to work. I started to totally rewire my brain and like chill my nervous system out. I know everyone is saying this right now, and there's a reason everyone is saying this right now. And I'm a completely different person. So that's why I wrote the book, because
Wow.
it's a really, I just want to challenge this crazy dominant narrative that look like Lyme is bad. Lyme is the worst thing that'll ever happen to you. And like the best thing you can hope for is remission. It's a really scary narrative.
Yeah. Well, it's confusing. And then, like you said, there's not a lot of people in conventional medicine. They don't know what to do and they don't know how to do this. But I love your story of how you dove into all of this. It's like one area where your type A was really good, right? Because you took it to that level with your personal development.
Do you think? Because I was like, I'm no longer like this. And she's like, girl, you just pivoted. Like you I was like, yeah, well, I mean, it kind of worked.
Yeah, I think it did. It served you. It's like it was meant to be that you took those skills that you have and you used it to help your body and like your mind. And I believe that's so powerful. I really relate to this too, because I've dealt with chronic illness and we joke, my family and I joke of like, if something bad is going to happen or you're going to get something and then it's going to be the worst case scenario, it's going to be me because I have been unregulated my whole life and I've been a stress case my whole life and anxious. And I haven't I've pushed through and I've done all of those things to my body and my immune system. And so it's like, it can only take so much. And my husband's like your husband, like, it's so funny. He's just the stress and the regulation is just a beautiful thing to see. It's admirable, but I think that it's just such a good point with the nervous system discussion because you're right. It's like we are hearing more about it now because of how important it is and people are realizing that. So as far as other things, so you talk about you started doing breath work and you started learning about Wim Hof. Any other more alternative type of treatments that you were doing at this time that were helpful?
I really latched onto Chinese medicine. So fire cupping and gua sha. I did a little bit of acupuncture. And just the idea of like flow and energy and movement. The one thing I did that Chinese medicine does not love is I was a cold water addict. I became addicted to cold water, particularly like swimming in the ocean. We were up in Canada for a fair bit. Like the water was like 46 degrees and it was amazing for pain relief. So Chinese medicine and like a IV ozone. I did parasite cleansing. I took a tremendous amount of antimicrobial supplements because I worked with a naturopath. And so it was really balanced between like the Western, approach with antibiotics and all these other things. I did SOT, which is really emerging as quite powerful with Lyme treatment. It's supportive oligonucleotide therapy. They use it a lot in Europe. You can get it here now. I'm pretty sure in LA you can get it too. And it was amazing. It was amazingly powerful for me. And but yeah, Lyme is not something that is addressed with like one treatment. It's really multifaceted. It responds well to a whole approach. Like I'm asked all the time, like, how'd you do it? How'd you do it? And I've created like documents and like this whole book and all these things to try and summarize it. But like at its most basic, I break it into 4 things, which is Western medicine, alternative treatments, a relationship with nature, and mental and emotional work. And those, if you look at if like a Venn diagram, those 4 were all equally important, and in the center is recovery. But like
Mm.
Western medicine was no less important than my relationship with nature, or no less important than the mental and emotional work. So those four things are the four.
So you had your Lyme literate doctor,
Mhm.
MD,
Yeah.
and then you had also a naturopath. Is that
No,
correct?
sorry. Sorry to be confusing. My Lyme litter doctor is a naturopathic doctor.
Oh, got it. Okay,
Yes.
good. Okay, good. That makes sense. And then also you're doing, Chinese medicine
Right.
at the same time. And so I just did my first series of SOT therapy.
Oh, cool.
I have Epstein-Barr,
Got it. Yeah. I
chronic
think it does
Epstein-Barr.
really well with that, doesn't it?
It's supposed to,
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I've tried ozone like you, blood ozone, but it's one of those things you're sending off some light bulbs because there's other things I could be doing, and I've done Chinese medicine. I love Chinese medicine. We've had tons of acupuncturists on my show as well because I just believe in it so much.
Mhm.
They do not like that I like my iced coffee, so I'm with
I
you.
know, right? They hate the cold.
They're like, "Come on, Jessica." But I am excited because I just got it last month.
Cool.
So, and it takes some time. So, like, tell us a little bit more about the SOT. Did you do one treatment and then did you feel a lot different from so hard to isolate what you did because you did a plethora of things. After getting the SOT, was there an improvement or when did the doctor be like, bill of health, you're done?
Oh, she didn't. That was really an
Okay.
inside job. I mean, when people are like, well, like sometimes people are kind of snarky, like on Instagram. I'm pretty active on Instagram and online. People are like, how do you know you're cured? I'm like, well, I have negative tests and I have no symptoms. So like in my books, that means like cured. Like I don't have
Yeah.
symptoms and I test negative. Um,
Yeah.
so, you know, those last tests I had that came up negative and I'm having no symptoms, we were kind of like, well, do you need to keep on keeping on? Just like for me now, it's about being preventative. Like, I don't want to go back to the way I was before. That
Yeah.
was the recipe for disaster. I do not want to go back to the way I was before. So I did 2 rounds of SOT. Because SOT is like species specific, like very specific. So I did it for Borrelia, which is a bacteria that causes Lyme, and I did it for tick-borne relapsing fever. I had 13 infections. So I had like a lot
Yeah.
of co-infections. I had a lot going on. Those were the two that my doctor decided were like the most like positive and the most like symptomatic. So she helped me. Her name is who I did the SOT with was Dr. Stephanie Poyani, and um, she has her new last name is Mutiloa.
I'm
S
not going to ask you how to spell that. Do you know?
Spanish. Um, she's amazing, and so she was like, "Well, let's look at your symptoms and let's look at your blood tests and like pick the which ones are kind of paired and like do that." So that was tick-borne relapsing fever, and it worked really swiftly. Again, like this, the moral of the story is, and she'll say the same thing, is like it worked so swiftly because I had been healing for quite some time,
Okay.
and I never stopped with all of the other things. I always did more. Like I did SOT, and I wasn't like, okay, I'm going to sit back and like kick my feet up and let SOT do the work. It was like, I'm doing SOT and I'm going outside every single day and I'm talking to my trees and I'm relaxing my nervous system and I'm being, continuing to work on my, these like dusty old beliefs I have about myself. Like I'm not worth it or like I'm not worthy unless I'm productive. Um,
Mm.
all those things matter. Like I'm that girl now, like the belief that I'm only a useful human if I have a successful career was as damaging to me as the Borrelia. That's my personal opinion. I'm not a medical provider, but that is a very, very insidious, damaging belief that shows up in every area of your life. And it makes you a workaholic and all of the things that just absolutely decimate one's self.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I want to talk about current day you. And you're talking about you still get out in nature. Are you doing anything still with your naturopath? Do you still get, your visits with your acupuncturist? Tell us your routine, your protocol look like now.
My primary, so I'm not taking any like pills or anything like that. So I focus on my innate resilience, like all living. I know, like, I really applied a lot of what I knew as a fisheries biologist to my healing. I have worked for many years on like taking ecosystems that are severely damaged and like, how can we help them rebuild? And it's all about understanding that ecosystems, bodies are always moving towards healing. We just need to create the correct conditions for that. Like remove the bad things, remove the pollutants and the toxins and like overfishing, and remove those things. And those, I was like, okay, I'll just do that for myself because I am nature. My body is nature. So that's my approach now. Like I'm not on any like hardcore medication. I'm not doing any of that stuff. Number one is maintaining like a calmer. I'm not perfect. Like girl cells still do, I'm still like got anxiety and stuff occasionally. So maintaining a calmer nervous system. And I do that by breath work with Johann Erb. He is so fantastic. I just taught at Omega Institute in New York with him like 2 weeks ago. His pyramid breath work is like, I'm not exaggerating. It's life-changing. He's amazing. So I'm part of that group. So pyramid breath with Johann Erb, connection to nature, to animals. I don't go a day without, San Diego's a big city. I live a mile from the airport. Like, it's not like I'm like living out. I'm going to one day live out in the woods, but I have 3 beautiful sycamore trees that are in our front yard. And I will not look at my phone in the morning. I get up, I have natural light in my eyes. I go outside, I put my feet on the grass. I talk to the trees. I thank them for the air. I'm very much that girl now. I was born that way. It just kind of got erased out of me.
Yeah.
I'm like super witchy like that. I collect my cat's whiskers. Like I'm that girl, I was born like an animal fanatic, and I've just leaned back into that. Thinking about my impact on the planet, thinking about my impact on those around me. I eat responsibly. I'm not crazy. Like I've been way too restrictive my whole life. Like I'm a girl that was raised in the like 90s. Like I have been hungry my whole life. I don't do that anymore. I eat breakfast now. I don't eat factory farmed meat because of the torture to the animals. But I go out for margaritas with my friends. Like it's like I'm trying to live a very uncomplicated life when it comes to my health. It's like, am I happy? Am I calm? Am I thinking about my impact on the environment? Do I have friends that I feel better when I leave hanging out with them? Like, how do I feel after I've left the room with you? How do you feel after you've left the room with me? I express myself. I talk about feelings now. Never used to do that. I work on my relationships. Like it's like, I'm not like a biohacker. Like I'm not like, like red light therapy and like that's like return to the natural world. Like put your feet on the earth. You don't need like one of those shaking plates. Like this planet doesn't need us buying more stuff. Go for a walk outside, connect with the crows, like the ravens, get natural light into your eyes, swim in a cool natural body of water. Eat food that you've grown if you can. Like I don't have a garden here, but I grow herbs. I plant milkweed for the monarch butterflies. This stuff all like calms you. It makes you feel connected. And it's the best thing I've ever done for myself. Stopped commuting. That was, I used to commute like 3 hours a day in Southern California traffic. And like, not to be dramatic, but I don't think that helped my prognosis like in the beginning. That's devastating. Yeah. It's devastating. Yeah. Like it's devastating.
I used to drive from South Orange County to Burbank for a commute.
Girl.
And when I tell you I wanted to take my car off a bridge, I wasn't kidding. Like when you say it's devastating, it is. Like
it's devastating.
It really affects your life.
Yeah, it's totally. And I'm not saying like, it's like seriously privileged that I now get to do this and work from home. I worked my tail off to change that. But there were a decade where I was sitting on the 5 for 2 to 3 hours a day in like, stop and go. I had no air conditioning and I had a standard car that I drove down here from Canada, my little Yaris. So I know the struggle. I was like, this is insane. People are like, you don't have air conditioning? I'm like, no, like it's like a tiny little Yaris. So yeah, addressing those things. Big time.
Oh my gosh. I love all of this so much. My son just got my father-in-law's Yaris. Oh so when he starts driving, that's what he has AC though. So that's good. But yes, I mean, this is all so important. And I feel like we're always, especially I think if you're dealing with chronic illness or just dealing with, like I said in the beginning, it could be somebody going through perimenopause and struggling. It doesn't have to, we don't have to search for like, what's the latest technology. Like you said, you can just go outside and talk to, I have a crow in the backyard, Joe. I go and feed every
Well, I
day.
am the
And
girl
so
to talk to about Joe. Like,
we have to talk after this podcast. Like
yeah.
we need to connect because there's so many similarities. But yeah, it's like go and do those free things, because let's be honest, like a lot of what you're talking about, jump in the ocean, go touch grass, like
Yes.
these are free, accessible things to us. Have that gratitude that you have talked about this whole podcast, having, being grateful and being open. I think one thing that is really cool about your story is you went from like this more more inflexible to
Yes.
like you're able to say, okay, I'm willing to do whatever it takes for my healing. I'm going to call a psychic.
Yep.
Because nothing is off the table, right? And I think that being open and flexible during healing in your life is like crucial to get there.
I have the method I call the SOAR method. When I was bedbound, I was on so many antibiotics, and we live in Southern California. And so you couldn't go in the sun because I had a phototoxic reaction. So we lived in a southwest facing on the top of Mount Soledad window. Like the house was just sun. Like I had to hide in our bedroom with the curtains drawn a lot of the time because the boatload of medication I was on, and I could look out my window and see like red-tailed hawks. And so that was like Tuesday, just like watching the hawks. And, so I came up with this method called the SOAR method in honor of those hawks, and it's surround, open, action, release. And it's obviously an acronym, but open is like being open to doing things that you may have judged. Do the weird thing, like the rage ritual, talk to your trees, all of these things that I used to judge quite seriously. Sharing feelings, like stuff like that. It's a really big pillar of this whole method that I've created because it was a non-negotiable in me getting to where I am today.
Yeah. Well, I'm so happy that you're so much better. And it sounds like your lifestyle is so amazing. It's so balanced. And I'm just like, I'm so glad you were able to share this. I'm so glad that you feel amazing. You look amazing.
Oh.
So for everybody first of all, tell us where to get the book and tell us more about that.
I'm so excited. I'm insufferable right now. It's so exciting. It's so exciting. It's called Resilient by Nature, a memoir of curing chronic Lyme disease. It is going to be officially released on September 15th, 2026. Okay. So pre-orders will be available soon. I'm told in the next handful of weeks. Okay. So, all online retailers. I'm suggesting that you go to your local bookstore and then ask them to bring it in for you, because it's just really nice to support small bookstores, and the opportunity to go to a small bookstore is amazing. So yes, September 15th, it will ship if you can pre-order it though. And I'm highly active on Instagram, online. When people reach out to me, I respond personally to every single message. So it's Alayna Bellquist on Instagram. You can find me there, and reach out, totally reach out. The book is, it was really important to me that it was written very well. It's pretty grueling. Like it's nitty. It's like, I don't hold back on the horrors of this illness, but you will not feel more scared about Lyme when you read this book. You will feel like I always say, a stronger conviction in your ability to recover, and maybe even be thankful for the whole thing. This is not an illness or fear reinforcing book about Lyme disease. This is exactly the opposite of that, which is super rare in the Lyme community. And nature is woven. I mean, there's literal trees on the cover. Nature is woven throughout the entire thing. It's set in Victoria, BC, my hometown, and San Diego. So yeah.
I cannot wait to read it. I'm going to link your Instagram handle in the show notes. I will be following you today and sending you a message. And thank you for sharing with us today.
Oh, I'm I'm truly so thankful for the opportunity.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. Please subscribe and review so we can reach more people who want to learn to glow alongside us. See you next time.